Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Looks like the dev server got updated again, but this one was an update that happened after the dev server closed, so we won't be able to have a look at it, but at least we can go through all of the changes. Obviously, this dev server season has been a little bit crazy. There's been basically updates every day for nearly 2 weeks now, showing that there is a lot of content coming in the next update, and also they're really working hard to try and fix all of the bugs that are around. So hopefully it comes out soon. Hopefully people get to enjoy all of the stuff. I saw there was another dev blog today for the T72. We still don't have any dev blogs for some of the premiums that are coming in, like the MiG-29 Sniper or the good old Hornet for the Swiss. I wonder if they're going to be pre-orders or if they're just going to be standard packs for the update. Anyway, in this video, we'll have a look at the data mine for the update and see what's going on with it. And as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and also like the video. Let's get started. So, the first one is there's a new armor type now. These are rubber metal screens, which I'm kind of surprised weren't in the game before. But my guess is this is for some of the new premium vehicles that are coming in. Just like we had the sand armor type, which came in for the sandbags, it wouldn't be a surprise if this was there for something like the T-34s or some of the other vehicles. Also, during the reorganization of naval bots, they ended up introducing a bug due to which bots couldn't spawn above 7.7, so they've fixed that now, so the top tier will have bots in it. So if you are playing the new shiny vehicles, you will still get in matches, which is kind of nice. When it comes to the aircraft DM changes, so for the F2As, the HSD page was removed from the MFD, and also for the RAH-66A, the camera position was changed, and they added the HSD page to the MFD too. Also, the Su-25T, the Su-39 as well, the TV target tracker was added back when the Mercury is not equipped. The UH-1C camera position was changed, and also the Yak-15s, the user skin template generation was enabled, and the Z10MEO2, they added the Z10 FCR radar. So that's just all to the damage models. That's basically like with the X-ray stuff when you see it, so that's what they've changed up. The only one really that's going to make any difference there is the Z10, since of course, you know, if you hit certain components on helicopters now, it will actually knock them out. It's actually a really cool change for helicopters, and I'm super glad that they've made those updated damage models for them. For aircraft weaponry changes, they've actually changed a few of them. So first of all, the F-35, which is coming in for Sweden, the new Draken. The loadouts have gone back to what they were before. So basically they started off with the rockets being at 152 of the CRV-7s and 152 of the FFARs. Then they made them 171, basically adding 2 extra pylons to them. Well, now what they've done is they've gone back to the 152. So I'm guessing the outer pylons, which also hold the sidewinders, won't be able to hold the rockets anymore, which kind of sucks. A really cool loadout is actually coming in for the L39ZA though. Basically, you can get 12 7.62mm PK machine guns. So one of the limitations of the L39ZA is it only has that one individual gun in the center of it, which of course is the GSH, and that is okay because, you know, you will hit hard, but you just don't have a lot of ammunition. Well, now you'll have a bunch of 7.62 PK machine guns you can come along with it, 12 of them in total. So similar to the Strike Master, where if you have a look at the Strike Master, that one can actually carry up to 8 7.62mm FN6030 machine guns, so you can bring nearly 4,000 rounds of ammunition. The L39 is going to be similar. Also, they changed the Mirage 3S. Basically, the custom loadouts changed, so they just moved around certain types of armaments, so we'll have to check that out when it turns up. Also, for sensor changes, the air, radar, general, the ground and sea modes now have different names, which is pretty cool. So what they've actually ended up doing is adding in some new radar texts which go along with that. So now, instead of just TWS, you also have TWS SEA, and also ACM SEA, and then also just SEA, TRK SEA, and all of this stuff. So that's kind of cool. Also, they fixed the JAPG2 which is the F2's radar. Basically, the DL channels is now up to 4 again. There was like a bug report which said that it should be 2, but unfortunately it seems to have misread what the actual, documentation said. So now it's back to 4 when it should have been in the first place. So that's one of those where like it gets updated on the dev because of a bug report. Turns out the bug report's wrong, so then it gets reverted. So that's why you've got to be a bit careful with the bug report stuff, but also at the same time, it's nice to see the community getting involved. For ground vehicles, there's also some changes. So the T86 GMC, the engine sound is now the Hellcats instead of the M5, which makes a lot of sense. The E100 is also getting the Tiger 2 sound instead of the Tiger 1, so it'll have a much more beefy sound. The Tiger 2 engine sound is just really nice. Like, it's actually lovely to hear, which is pretty cool. And then also, it seems like that rubber metal screens is actually coming in for the Leopards. So basically all of the Leopard 1s, apart from the standard Leopard 1, and then also the Leopard 2s, their structural steel is being changed to rubber metal screens. So we'll have to see what happens there. There's also some changes to some of the top tier AAs. You remember with the Ocelot how they removed the stabilizer? Well, a lot of those new SAM systems are also losing their stabilizer. So the Elder 98, the SAM 1C, and then also the M109 7A2, which is the SLAM RAM, the stabilizer is removed. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference with those, maybe with the TAN SAM, but everything else it should be completely fine. Just depends whether you can fire on the move or not with those things, since a lot of them have kind of like stationary weapon setups. So yeah, that will be the one that is worth looking at instead. The CSSA-5, the inability to use the FB-10A was fixed, so basically you just couldn't actually use it on the vehicle. You could on the previous dev server, but then they broke it, so kind of funny to see. The T-3485, so with the new damage model, the turret roof is no longer volumetric, and they also added 75mm RHA volumetric commander's cupola, meaning that you probably won't be able to overpressure this thing anymore. Which kind of sucks, because that was one of the ways that if you had a HE lobber, you were able to destroy the T-34s, but it's probably not going to be the case anymore. The Ariete PSO, the composite screens HP has gone down from 10,000 to 800, so you can actually destroy them now, where before you basically couldn't. They were just stuck there forever. And then the Leclerc MSC, they added 45mm of RHA internal turret armor around the gun. So you know how I showed on the dev server it had kind of holes in it? Well, it looks like those holes have been fixed. I kind of worry about the Leclerc MSC, and not like a bad worry, but right now it's at 10.7, so it has a lineup, which is really nice. But with all of this additional armor, with the pretty decent reload, the only thing that's keeping it at 10.7 is its round. And sometimes when it comes to these types of vehicles, if they do really well, which I'm pretty sure this one is going to do, what's going to end up happening is it's going to go up in BR. And that just kind of sucks, because it means that once again, you'll have no lineup for a French vehicle. A lot of the high-tier battleships, they added fire protection HP of 3, and then a new line, which is cast on hit of self-damage, is false, so whatever that means. And also, they added primary shell storage, primary charge storage fire protection is now 5 instead of 3 on certain vehicles, and they basically just moved around it for specific stuff. So for heavy cruisers, they lowered the fire protection on primary shell storage, same with light cruisers, but they increased it on battleships, so basically making them more tanky, but making cruisers less tanky. The LCM-6F, they added a tricolor spotted camo, which is really cool. They fixed the Twitch Drop Dark Aggressor skins, which is really nice. The MTB-422, they added a tricolor wavy navy skin, which is nice. And also the Roma, they actually made a little bit more tanky, which is kind of cool. The guns on the new C-34, this is the new Swiss World War II aircraft that's coming in, the premium one, which personally I wish wasn't a premium. It would have been nice to see it in the tech tree, but c'est la vie. So they fixed the guns. Basically, the 20mm FMK HS45, the stock accuracy has been increased by 233%, and the spaded accuracy has been increased by 240%, so it was basically just a scatter shot before. And then also they reduced the rate of fire to 750, so all of the guns now have the same fire rate, or all of the 20mm have the same fire rate on the C36, making it a little bit easier to use. The FMK HS45, they did the same thing with the accuracy, so it should be way more accurate than it was before. They also changed the seeker sound noise on the FB10s, which is kind of funny. And also decals. The Officers Club is now hidden unless you had it. The Officers Club was like attached to an app that you used to be able to get with War Thunder, and it was like a card game, if I remember. So you kind of had to, like, you know, play it to be able to get to the decals. No idea what it was, but it just seemed like weird, like odd gambling stuff, and I just never got into it. Then you had the emblem of the 415th Special Operations Squadron, which is going to be no longer hidden. The 14, 27, and 100 unlock requirements are now hidden. And also Major Vyacheslav Sirotin personal emblem unlock requirements are no longer hidden too. And also the Nemensky text is no longer being able to be unlocked. So that kind of sucks. You're not going to be able to get any of those unless, you know, they kind of turn up. So the L39 as well, obviously got the gun pod, the PK3, as a modification. Not really too surprising. They moved the high BR airfields on the Falklands Islands, so if you want to check that out, you can do. Nothing really has changed too much on it, though, since, you know, we looked at it on the first version of the dev server. And then also, at the same time, they added a bunch of changes to basically some decals. Also, the ULA got updated, and some other kind of like little text areas, so nothing too crazy. So overall, you know, this update is looking pretty chunky, as I said before. A lot of these changes are just stuff which already is in the game. So for example, like the BB-1, the wing rip speed got reduced from 620 to 540, which is pretty rough. And then also the F-111F, they added 2 external fuel tanks with a mass of 1,815 kilos each, which basically means that you'll be able to stay in the air for longer, which is nice. But generally, you know, these changes are very microscopic compared to the overall amount, so this is like fine-tuning before the update comes out. So we'll see what goes on. Usually they don't release updates on Fridays, but stranger things have happened. As always, let me know what you think about the update. What are you going to play first? Look after yourselves. Peace be with you. I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Warthunder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.